Have you ever stopped and wondered why you keep repeating the same mistakes, or why the things you want the most sometimes scare you the deepest? Stoicism teaches us how to stay calm in the storm, but psychology shows us where that storm even begins. On Psyche Lab 2, we dig into the ideas of Carl Jung, Viktor Frankl, Freud, Adler, along with trauma healing and the hidden world of the unconscious mind. The whole goal is simple: turning inner understanding into real transformation. New videos drop every morning at 6 a.m. and every evening at 6 p.m. So, if you've ever felt like there's something deeper driving your choices, your emotions, or your reactions, you're in the right place. Search Psyche Lab 2, or just tap the link below. I'll meet you there. Let's talk about building a mind so strong. Nothing and no one can break it. Not to impress anyone, not to look tough, but to be steady when life gets chaotic, calm when pressure rises, and unshaken when the world gets loud. This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming anchored. When your mind is trained, the world loses its grip on you. In this message, you're going to learn habits that protect your peace, sharpen your thinking, and make your strength quiet but undeniable. And don't just listen once, come back to this whenever you need a reset. Let it shape your mornings, clear your mind, and help you show up as a stronger version of yourself. If this resonates, share it with someone who needs it, and drop a comment below. Sometimes all it takes is one reminder. Still unbreakable. That's enough. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. We're building something powerful here. Now, let's begin. 1. Train your mind every day, because if you don't, the world will. Every morning you wake up with a blank slate. But before you even sit up, something grabs it. You reach for your phone, and just like that, your peace is gone. Headlines shout fear, messages want attention, and social media quietly whispers who's richer, who's happier, who's ahead of you. In just 5 minutes, your mind gets hijacked. You didn't choose your first thoughts. The world chose them for you. Building mental strength doesn't begin during a crisis. It begins the moment you wake up. It begins with what you allow in and what you don't. Think of your mind like a muscle. If you don't train it, it weakens. If you don't shape it, the world will shape it for you with noise, pressure, and everyone else's expectations. And once that happens, you're no longer living from your own center. You're reacting to everything like a puppet on strings. The world becomes your coach, and not a gentle one. It pushes you to compare, to rush, to doubt yourself. Here's something most people don't realize. You don't need to win the morning, you just need to claim it. You don't need a perfect routine. You just need a deliberate pause, a moment where you decide who you're going to be that day. That pause could be 2 minutes of silence before touching your phone. It could be writing a single line. Today I choose calm. Or, today I won't explain myself. It could simply be standing by the window, breathing, reminding yourself that not every urgency is your emergency. These tiny acts, quiet, simple, often invisible, train the mind more than any dramatic routine. They build identity through repetition. They reshape your reactions. Over time, they become a shield that keeps the chaos outside from becoming chaos inside. Nobody will clap for you when you choose this. There's no applause for resisting the urge to scroll. No gold medal for choosing silence over stress. And that's exactly the point. Training your mind isn't about performance. It's about ownership. And the more consistently you show up for it, the more unshakable you become. The goal isn't to avoid discomfort or hide from challenges. The goal is to stay steady when life becomes noisy, because it will. People will test your patience. Pressure will pile up. Disappointments will hit hard. But if you've trained daily, not occasionally, you'll meet those moments with clarity, not chaos, with steadiness, not panic. So ask yourself, are you training your mind or letting the world do it for you? One of those paths builds strength. The other breaks it down. Choose the quiet practice no one sees. That's how you build a mind no one can break. 2. Be careful what you feed your mind. It becomes your reality. Just like your body responds to what you eat, your mind responds to what you consume. Every word, image, sound, each one plants something inside you. Most people are picky about their diet, but careless about their mental diet. They scroll through anger, absorb bitterness, and call it just killing time. But that time builds your worldview, your fears, your beliefs. Even the way you judge yourself, most of it wasn't even yours. It was planted by repetition. If you start your day with negativity, arguments, and drama, your mind will soak it all in. And once it absorbs it, it repeats it back to you, not because it's true, but because it's familiar. I've seen people ruin their own peace without leaving their home, all because of the content they consumed before breakfast. One man I knew watched toxic relationship videos every morning. Within weeks, he believed love was fake, trust was foolish, and relationships were doomed not because of personal experience, but because he let poison drip into his mind every day. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between truth and repetition. If you hear it enough, you'll start to believe it. That's why protecting your mind must be a daily habit, not something you do only when life goes wrong. Think of your mind like a clear glass of water. If you pour in dirty water every day, you can't expect it to be clear when you need clarity. The dirt comes in the form of gossip, comparison, self-doubt, mindless, scrolling, and anger-filled content. But here's the good news. You can also feed your mind strength. Ask yourself each morning, what do I want to plant in my mind today? Because every input is a seed, and seeds grow into moods, choices, habits, and ultimately, your whole life. Choose inputs that bring clarity, not confusion. Choose voices that sharpen you, not dull you. Choose thoughts that build your spirit, not break it. And whenever you catch yourself drifting, pause and ask, is this what I want to become? You have more control than you think. You can mute the noise, unsubscribe from drama, and stop feeding your mind low-quality thoughts. That's not ignorance, it's discipline. And that discipline builds a mind that stays clear when others get lost in the noise. Feed your mind power, and power is what you become. 3. Don't react. Respond with power. Real power doesn't rush or explode, it pauses. It sees clearly. It chooses carefully. Most people react instantly to everything. One insult, one stressful moment, one trigger, and boom, they lose control. They think reacting fast makes them strong, but the strongest person in any room is the one who doesn't flinch, who observes first, who waits, who speaks only when clarity arrives. Reacting is instinct, responding is discipline. I once almost destroyed a friendship because of a message I didn't even fully read. I almost ruined a friendship over a message I didn't even fully read. My mind jumped straight to the worst conclusion. Emotions took over, and I fired back words I couldn't take back. Not because I was a bad person, but because I was an untrained one. No one had ever told me that the space between what happens and how you respond, that tiny gap, is where your real strength lives. That moment when your heart is pounding, your ego feels hit, your anger starts rising, that's exactly when most people hand over their power. But if you can breathe through it, hold your tongue, steady your thoughts, and then choose your response, everything shifts. We live in a world that worships speed. The faster you reply, the more real you seem. The louder you talk, the more confident people think you are. But real confidence doesn't panic. Real emotional strength has no rush. It doesn't need to prove a point. It pauses. It watches. It chooses. Think of it like a master archer. They don't let go of the arrow just because their emotions are loud. They release when they're ready with intention, not impulse. That's the mental toughness you're building. A state where your mood isn't controlled by other people. Where your day doesn't fall apart because someone else is chaotic. Where you stop overreacting and start responding with quiet power. And if you're still listening right now, I see something in you. This isn't surface-level advice. It's not a cute quote for social media. This is for people who are ready to train their mind daily to choose response over reaction, clarity over noise, presence over panic. The more you practice this, the more unshakable you become. Your silence will end arguments before they ever begin. Your calm will confuse chaos. Your stillness will become your strongest move. So next time life throws a sharp word, a tense moment, or an emotional storm at you, pause. Don't rush to defend yourself. Don't act to prove you're right. Let your silence gather strength. Let your thoughts settle. And then, from that still, grounded place, choose your response. Maybe it's a word. Maybe it's a boundary. Maybe it's no reaction at all. Because sometimes real power lives in the words you don't say. Sometimes control is in the argument you never join. That's how mental resilience is built. Not by being untouchable, but by being unmoved. You're not here to be triggered. You're here to be trained. And the more you protect that space between impulse and action, the more you reclaim yourself. That's the mindset that doesn't break no matter the person, the pressure, or the storm. Build it, guard it, and let the world wonder how you stayed so calm while everything around you was on fire. 4. Your struggles are your gym. Lift them. Everyday life puts weight on your shoulders not to crush you, but to condition you. The delays, the frustrations, the disappointments, they're not just random annoyances. They're your training ground, your personal gym for the mind. But most people don't see it that way. They think struggles mean something is wrong, that life is against them, that they're just unlucky, when in reality, these small, invisible battles are the exact reps that build your mental strength, emotional control, and discipline. You don't grow when everything goes right. You grow when you're tested. Think about it. You're stuck in traffic. Your child melts down at the worst possible time. Your boss criticizes your work unfairly. Those aren't just bad days. Those are heavy weights for your emotional muscles. And every time you resist the urge to snap, every time you remain calm when no one else does, every time you choose control over chaos, you're lifting. You're training. You're building a level of self-trust and inner peace that doesn't depend on life being easy. This mindset changes everything. Most people take life personally, as if the universe is out to get them. But life is neutral. It throws tests your way to reveal what you've actually trained for. The stronger you want your mind to be, the more resistance you'll feel. A weak mind begs for comfort. A strong mind understands that toughness is built through discomfort, not convenience. This is the point where most people quit right before their breakthrough. They confuse resistance with rejection. But it's not rejection, it's refinement. You don't become emotionally grounded by avoiding stress. You become grounded by walking through it without letting it change your center. Just like muscles grow by pushing against weight, your mind grows by pushing against pressure. This doesn't mean you need to be perfect or pretend nothing bothers you. It means you start seeing every struggle as training, not punishment. That shift alone can change your life. When you treat your life like a gym, every difficult person becomes a sparring partner. Every setback becomes a drill. Every hard morning becomes a chance to strengthen your discipline. The strongest people you know, the calm ones, the steady ones, they've been through more than you think. What makes them different isn't what they faced. It's how they trained through it. They showed up when it was hard. They stayed calm when disrespected. They stayed focused when ignored. They kept moving when they wanted to quit. Because they understood something most people forget. If you avoid the weight, you avoid the strength. And without strength, you're at the mercy of everything. So stop asking for life to get easier. Start asking for the strength to handle it better. The more you lift your struggles instead of running from them, the more your mind learns to respond with calm, focus, and strategy. You don't need less pain. You need a stronger frame. And that frame is being built right now, in the middle of everything that's testing you. Pick up the weight, breathe, lift, repeat. This is your gym. Train like your peace depends on it, because it does. 5. Build discipline when no one is cheering. Real discipline is not built when people are clapping. It's built in the quiet. When no one's watching. When no one texts, "I'm proud of you." When even you wonder, does this even matter? That's the part most people want to skip. They wait for motivation, attention, or approval to get started. But the strongest discipline is formed in the shadows, not in the spotlight. It's what you do when the room is empty, when the morning is cold, and quitting would be easy, but you don't. A friend once told me, "I started waking up early to run not because I loved running, but because I was tired of being disappointed in myself." No camera, no followers, no inspirational background music, just a man versus his own habit of procrastination. 30 days later, he didn't just look different, he felt different. His confidence changed. His posture changed. His choices changed. Not because he trained harder than everyone else, but because he trained when no one else cared. That's what most people misunderstand. They think self-discipline is about big, dramatic actions. In reality, it's built from small, quiet, boring decisions. Brushing your teeth when you're exhausted. Finishing the last 5 minutes of your workout when your legs are begging you to stop. Choosing kindness when irritation is easier. These tiny choices don't look impressive, but they build the foundation of your identity. Each small win adds weight to your self-respect. Over time, that weight becomes unshakable. Discipline isn't glamorous. You don't always post it on social media. It's deciding to organize your life when chaos feels more familiar. It's doing what needs to be done, even when the only person who will ever know is you. That's why so many people quit. They weren't chasing growth, they were chasing applause. When the attention dies down, so does their effort. But the ones who keep going, they've stopped chasing and started becoming. They no longer wait to feel motivated. They've trained themselves to act anyway. That's where true power lives. Not in noisy performances, but in consistent, private victories. Every time you resist the urge to procrastinate, to overthink, to escape, you grow your self-respect. And that self-respect is what creates freedom. Because when you trust yourself to show up without being pushed, you become unstoppable. The world doesn't control your pace. Your inner rhythm does. And that rhythm is trained, not magically discovered. Don't mistake silence for failure. Just because no one sees your effort doesn't mean it's not working. The most powerful changes often happen quietly, like water shaping rock. One day, people will call you disciplined, consistent, strong. But you'll know the truth. It didn't come from one big moment. It came from years of quiet repetition, done when no one watched and no one clapped. So the next time you feel invisible, remember, the most powerful version of you is being built right now, in that invisibility. Keep showing up, keep lifting, even when no one is counting. Your discipline is your freedom, and no one can take it away. 6. Protect your energy. Not every battle deserves your presence. There will always be something trying to knock you off balance, a rude comment, a disrespectful glance, a silly argument just waiting to explode. If you're not careful, you'll spend your whole day reacting to things that don't deserve even 5 seconds of your energy. A strong mind doesn't jump into every fight. It chooses its battles with intention. Just because someone throws a punch doesn't mean you need to swing back. Just because someone barks doesn't mean you have to bark louder. A wise man once told me, "Racehorses don't stop to kick barking dogs." That line stayed with me because I realized how much energy I'd wasted trying to win every tiny argument. You don't need to prove your strength in every exchange. True strength is restraint. It stays quiet when provoked, clear when misunderstood, peaceful when chaos tries to pull it in. A reactive mind chases every disturbance. A disciplined mind stays focused on what truly matters. That kind of focus isn't passive. It's powerful. It doesn't come from controlling others, but from controlling yourself. That's real emotional discipline. That's how inner peace is built. Not by fixing every person or every situation, but by protecting your energy from what drains it. So many people burn out, not because they're weak, but because they're constantly fighting battles that don't matter. They correct every critic, respond to every insult, explain themselves to people who are never going to understand them anyway. But when you develop a strong inner compass, things become clearer. Not every opinion is worth your time. Not every confrontation is necessary. Not every attack requires a response. Your energy is currency. Spend it carefully. While you're reacting, you're not creating. While you're fighting every shadow, you're losing time you could use to grow, to heal, to build. There is real power in not responding, in letting things pass through your awareness without letting them live in your mind. That's not weakness, that's direction. A strong person doesn't lose their path because someone yelled from the sidelines. They keep walking. They understand that attention is fuel, and some fires are better left unlit. You don't have to shrink yourself to be understood. Let them misunderstand you. Let them think you're weak because you didn't clap back. They don't know that you're not avoiding the fight, you're protecting your peace. People often assume silence is weakness, but they don't know what it takes to stay quiet. They don't see the discipline behind holding your peace when your pride wants to jump in. Silence isn't surrender. Many times, it's strategy. A calm mind makes sharper decisions than a triggered one. And if you want real power, not the performative, show-off version, you've got to protect your mental space like it's sacred ground. Let others waste their breath. You can save yours. Let others fight for validation. You can build self-respect through calm control. Every time you choose peace over ego, you grow stronger. Every time you rise above petty arguments, you become harder to shake. So, before you argue, respond, or correct someone, pause and ask yourself, will this matter in a week? Will this matter in a month? Will this build me or drain me? If the answer is no, walk away. Not because you're afraid, but because you've mastered yourself. Your peace is not a reaction. It's a decision. And only people who protect their energy rise above the noise. That's not retreat. That's command. 7. Become so deeply rooted that nothing can shake you. Picture a tall tree standing alone in the middle of a storm. The wind roars. The branches bend. Some even snap. The leaves scatter, but the tree itself does not fall. Why? Because its roots run deep. That's what it means to be grounded. Storms will come into your life. To criticism, rejection, uncertainty, chaos. Those things are unavoidable, but whether they break you or pass right through you depends on one thing, the strength of your roots. So many people live like leaves in the wind. One bad comment, one rough morning, one disappointment, and suddenly they're doubting themselves, doubting their path, doubting everything. Not because they're weak, but because they never planted their roots. When your identity depends on likes, approval, or applause, you live on edge. You rise and fall with every opinion. One moment you're up, the next you crash. But when your identity is built from the inside out on values, not popularity, you become solid, unmovable. You no longer ride the emotional roller coaster of praise and criticism. You simply watch it pass by. That kind of grounding takes work. It means choosing integrity over popularity. It means saying, this is what I stand for, even when it's uncomfortable. It means building emotional control not to be numb, but to stay steady. You stop chasing applause. You start becoming someone you respect. And that's when inner peace finally begins, not from external calm, but from internal clarity. You know who you are. You know what matters. So you stop negotiating your identity just to be liked. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't listening anyway. And slowly, something powerful happens. You detach not from life, but from the noise. The truth is, you don't need to win people over. You need to win yourself back. When your mind is rooted in purpose and principles, you don't overreact to every little thing. You stay centered not because life is easy, but because your spirit is steady. When others panic, You breathe. When others fight for attention, you move with intention. You trust your choices. You listen more than you speak. You act from strength, not from impulse. This isn't arrogance. It's alignment. You're not detached because you don't care. You're detached because you care more about peace than performance. Your roots run deeper than surface-level approval. You don't seek validation. You seek clarity. You don't prove your worth. You live it. And when you live that way, the world can't control you, not with insults, not with praise, not with pressure. You've already chosen what defines you. So build those roots. Build them through discipline, through morning routines that reset your mind, through actions that match your values, not your moods. Because the more consistent you are with yourself, the less you need from anyone else. That's the foundation of mental toughness. That's the beginning of true inner peace. And when the storm comes, and it will, you won't have to force yourself to stay calm. You'll already be calm. Because you didn't just prepare for the storm. You became the kind of person who can stand in the middle of it and not move. That is strength. That is growth. That is what it means to be deeply rooted. The strength of your life is shaped by the strength of your mind. Every moment you choose discipline over distraction, stillness over reaction, clarity over chaos, you're building something no one else can break. This journey isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about showing up daily with purpose, protecting your energy, and staying steady no matter what comes your way. When you train your mind to obey you, you stop being a victim of your emotions and start living with intention. You attract peace, not noise. You act, not react. And over time, you become unshakable. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Share your story in the comments. What challenges shaped your mindset? What habits keep you grounded? Your words may inspire someone else who needs them today. And if this added value to your life, like the video and subscribe for more daily mindset training. Remember, your greatest strength isn't what you show. It's what you build quietly when no one is watching. Keep going.